I think that when someone is experiencing an episode of psychosis, it's very easy to lose hope. I find when I'm at work, I tend to hold hope for some people who can't hold it themselves. And of course I give it back to them once they're ready to take it themselves. But hope is something that can be transferred. Hope is something that can be shared. And in recovery, hope is necessary.
Am I going to let it win? Am I going to let it lose? And so the hope for me initially was to hold fast of that feeling inside of me that made me get up in the morning and made me get out of bed and made me go to school even if I had no friends. And that hope was what I knew managed the illness.
Hope is knowing that there's help, there's treatment out there, that you can carry on with your life and live something meaningful.
If you can survive psychosis, you're already empowered.
You are somebody. You don't necessarily need to prove that to anybody, but hopefully people will see that in you. Hopefully people will see that in me. And so that empowerment, that feeling of knowing that you are an individual, I am a woman, I am, I've succeeded.
There's not a lot of things that you can do to, to make you feel better about, the fact that you have a kind of a debilitating, illness. I mean, there are some things, but one thing for me that I found out was actually making other people feel better. A group meeting at FACPO's recovery night, and basically told their story in front of a good 30 people or something in a room, and I wasn't too sure about when I was doing them, but afterwards I had about 3 or 4 people that came up to me and basically told me that if I didn't hear this from you, I never thought I'd hear anybody tell me that they felt the same thing, and that felt good. It felt really good.
This illness has killed people in the past, and it can just as well kill us, spiritually, emotionally, physically, all together. And so it's important to always remember that despite the hurt and despite the sadness, more than one person in this world feels your pain and understands you. So it's always something, I guess, heartwarming that you can also overcome this and you can succeed.
I have a very strong retrospect of how I was. I can really see who I was when I was ill and suffering from a break, and it's hard to deal with, people that don't understand, but if there's some information that you can get to them while they're ill, the best thing for them to know is that, keep your supports there. You need your supports.
Psychosis is just another illness, much like how some people might have diabetes, some people might have high blood pressure. It's just another illness and it's treatable, so anybody can live a regular life.
It's very significant for us to realize that people suffer from it on a daily basis and that it's more common than you think. And definitely to do what you can to raise your awareness on psychosis or to help others raise awareness on psychosis, just so that you don't get the impression that the media dramatizes or what you get from word of mouth. Actually get into it and know that this is something serious, this is something that deserves attention, and to dedicate as much of your focus on it as you can, so that in case it happens to you or to a friend, you can help them.
I find people who recover from mental illness to be some of the most interesting people I've ever met.
This ravine means so much to me. We'd walk down these paths here, and he'd start chasing these white rabbits. I always laughed because the rabbits are much faster than he is and they know all the secret places. It got me thinking about recovery, about my recovery and other people's, and something that I did and something that I think a lot of people do, and that's trying to find this ghost of their past. And I call it chasing the white rabbit because you'll never catch it. And once you move past this idea that you want to achieve or be exactly what you were before you had your episode, then you'll never see exactly what is within you. Psychosis can be compared to anything that's traumatic. When anyone lives through something that's traumatic, they always come out a much stronger person, much more resilient, and much more up to facing the challenges of life. I always try to tell them to embrace the new person that they've become, and not just the white rabbit, the ghost of their past. You start to find yourself, and the person you are may be a person with a mental illness. So don't chase the white rabbit. Once you're diagnosed, embrace it. Move forward.